Hey there. Very quickly, I just wanted to go over some things that I've been noticing, and I want you guys to quote me if you want, or to be aware of what's going on. But I've noticed that there's this huge movement towards the raw organic movement, and I was working around some very affluent people. I've been blessed to work around some of the people that make the world go round, and you would never know who they were, and you would never ever imagine. And I noticed one of my people were buying a lot of organic companies. And this is a few years ago, before it became this huge thing. And now I noticed that everything's organic. So I started thinking, I'm getting into the whole raw movement, and I was making dark chocolate truffles, and I'm like, every recipe for dessert requires dates. And it makes me think, if it requires dates, that means that more and more people are looking these recipes up and buying dates, which means I'm sure one of these people in this group said, okay, let's buy all the dates, and all the date farms and all the fields, and they created these recipes that they put out, and then people started sharing them because social media is retarded and addictive, right? And now everybody's looking for dates, and these people are making millions and billions of dollars, which is how they maintain their wealth. So what they do is they create a product, and then they promote it as the go-to, and then all of a sudden they make all this money. Now, quote me on this. I was right about the Valdez oil spill. The moment it happened, I'm like, why don't they just get a big suction to go to the source, put it right on the source of where the pipe broke, and then your oil spill is cleaned. It took them weeks to come up with that. And I came up with that immediately. Why? Because I'm Dominican. And Dominicans, we fix everything with whatever we have around. We're like, oh, se rompió, I got it, papi, don't worry. Pam, 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 fix it up. And people look at you, they're like, it doesn't even look like it did when it broke. And you're like, yeah, but it works. Mira, lo arreglé. And then they walk away because they're like so proud of themselves. Because that's what you do. And it amazes me that people like us that are so unbelievably smart that we can fix anything. It may not be aesthetically pleasing, but the problem is solved. And then you have these rich, preposterous idiots that are trained in the best schools, but they don't know how to fix a simple problem because they've never had to deal with problems, because they've been spoon-fed everything, and that their lawyers get them out of any situation. Whereas we, regular human beings, can fix anything wrong. Go, bring us to the government offices, and I guarantee you, we will be able to fix everything that's wrong, because we've worked in customer service. We know how it's supposed to work. But these preposterous idiots are going by these models and these things that they've read in their books that are superior to the actual work that we're doing, where we know what the problem is. But anyway, that's a whole nother business that I'm going to start. So, quote me on this. If you stuck with me this long, you deserve to hear it. GMO food. They made billions of dollars selling these pesticides and selling these things, and all this research that they got grants and money for to make food bigger so we can have more food for the population. And now it's shot. Now everyone's like, I don't want GMO, this and that. So they created the want, the need, the desire, and then they killed it. And now they're doing it with organic food. They're creating the desire, and then something else will come in to replace it. It'll probably be food supplements or something like that, where it's like everything's combined into a substance, and then you just eat that instead of food. Why? Because we're running out of water for the crops. Soon, quote me on this, there's going to be a privatization of water, where the only water you're going to be able to buy is bottled water. Unless you're in the Amazon rainforest, or when it snows, you have a big sterilized bin that collects the snow, turns it into water, and you're sourcing it, and you're holding on to it, and it's going to feed you for the whole year. And when it rains, you do the same thing if the water is not polluted. I'm telling you, this privatization of water is going to happen. Look up the movie Blue Gold. It's about the privatization of water. We're going towards that. It wasn't until I think the 80s or the 90s that people started charging for water. Water was free. Then they started charging like $1 a gallon or something, and now it's like a ridiculous price that you pay for water. So you have to pay for water. You don't know that, most people, because you pay rent, but the landlords know it. And now all these bottled waters are talking about there's fluoride in the water. They're basically ruining the water so that you'll want to buy their water. And all of a sudden, the only way you're going to survive is if you buy bottled water. And then all of a sudden, this country is going to turn into Africa. This isn't going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in the next 20 years, but it's in the process of happening. Pay attention, people. Everything is out there. All the information is out there. You just have to put two and two together. I don't know if they thought that I was stupid and that I didn't know any better, but I'm not retarded. I've noticed these patterns. I notice everything that's going on in the world. When you guys are distracted by the media and there's world news going on, I look for that news because that's what they're trying to distract you from. When Miley Cyrus is out there, they're trying to distract you from seeing what's really going on. So whenever something big happens in the media, or a kid goes missing, or it becomes a big story, look for what's behind that, because that's what they're covering up. Wake up, people. Because the way that we're going right now, we're going to be the Jews, and they're going to be the Nazis. And nobody's going to come help us because we're such a selfish society. We're no longer a community where we stand up and we fight together, like we did with, the 1776 revolution, like we did with Martin Luther King, like we did with all these times that we've stood up and we fought. We are divided. This country is divided. And we need to wake up. And we need to start going to our town hall meetings and our city hall meetings. And we need to start listening before the laws change. And then we're like, wait, what do you mean the speed limit's 25 miles per hour? Where had you gone to your town meeting, had you gone to these meetings to vote against it, we wouldn't have had these problems. But we're too busy working because they've enslaved us. And we're so scared to take vacations because we're afraid we're going to get fired because we want to make the money. That's why I'm starting the community center. Because I'm going to teach people how to be free, how to make their own money, so they don't have to be a slave to the job, so they can have more freedom and more time to help society and the world. We have to start with us. You have to pay attention. And some of you are going to watch this and be like, oh, whatever. And then when you see it happen, you're going to be like, oh my God. And my station will be taken off. They will have taken off my station. You wouldn't even know anything else. Pay attention, people. These smart videos are hidden between all the other stuff I post. But there's a lot going on that we need to pay attention to. Privatization of water is coming through. If you see a lot of videos with one ingredient and everybody says you have to have that ingredient, back in the days it was sucralose. Everybody was like, oh no, sugar is bad. Let's have these sweeteners. Now the sweeteners are bad. But guess what? They already made their money. That's all they care about. Let me make my money quick. Let me maintain my billions and millions. Even if it's polluting and killing the peons, the little people, the peasants, who cares about them, right? We need them enough to work, make the money, and then buy our products so that we can maintain the life that we want. And we can continue to have a workforce. And then we're going to try and save them, make them think that we're saving them, and introduce another product. And little by little, we kill off part of the population, right? But then we're still producing more. You're still slaves, people. You may not feel like a slave because they're really good at tricking you, but you're still a slave. Sorry to burst your bubble. Hope this makes sense.